Uh, that's not very good.
Hey, Paul.
How you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good, Barbara. Just adjusting my lighting here, so I don't look quite so weird.
Yeah. I know it takes a little bit. This is an okay space, but it'll have to do. So it's nice to be back after the summer and see some familiar faces. Thank you all who are joining a little bit early. I'm waiting for Charlotte to join us, and she's going to test her screen and a few things, but it's going to be a large group today. So it's nice to have you all join, so I won't have to frantically try and admit everybody all at the same time.
It's been a while since I've done a Zoom meeting, so I had to make sure I still know how to do it.
Yeah, no, it's always good to sign in early and familiarize yourself. And yeah, I feel like I'm trying to think, it's been a little while since I've had a Zoom meeting too. So, which is probably a good thing, where I feel like I'm doing kind of half and half, half in person, half in Zoom. Oh, here's Charlotte. Oh, good.
So I'm going to go make a sandwich. I'll be back.
Yes. For those of you who signed in and want to go get a drink or whatever you need, go ahead.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, Chuck. Thank you for joining us today.
I'm with the Tilton Conservation Commission, and we have about a dozen conservation easements.
Excellent. That seems like a good manageable number.
It is. It is. Yeah. We've got some fairly large ones. We think we need a drone.
I think it's really cool the way a lot of organizations, land trusts, and different towns are using drones, and you can hire them out now too. I'm trying to make a list of resources, so maybe info on drones would be a good one.
Yeah, I think especially if you've got companies that are out there that would do so at a modest fee, where they could come in maybe on a given day and cover a whole bunch of different easements. Yeah, that would be nice.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one. Well, if I don't have that for you tomorrow, I'll get it in the next couple days. Hi, Charlotte.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for joining us today and helping out with this program.
Of course.
It's definitely a hot topic. We have almost 100 people signed up. Usually not all of them attend, but I'll send out the recording. So if you need any, do you want to test out your screen or check on anything?
Sure.
I'm going to make you a co-leader thing here. Let me get up to or co-host. I don't know if that is a huge difference in what you can do, but I figure you should at least have that title while you're here.
Sure. Yeah, I don't see why not. I'll try sharing my screen and just making sure that it shows up properly.
Yep, that looks good.
Okay. It's not in presenter view or anything.
Nope, it looks good to me.
Perfect.
And I mean, we could probably leave it up there. I'm just going to do a quick introduction.
Yep.
So I think it's fine if you want to leave that up.
Okay.
So we have about 10 minutes before we get started. So
yeah.
At least this way, when people join in, they'll know what they've signed up for.
Yeah. Yeah. They'll know that they're in the right place.
Yes, exactly. And so you presented this at last year's annual meeting and conference, I think, right? With Larry Spencer.
Yes.
So I'm glad you could, join us again, because I know that it's definitely a topic that a lot of commissions are interested in. So I think the more we can get the word out, the better. And since you already had the presentation prepared, I thought it would make sense to do a bit of double duty for it.
Yeah. Yeah. And since you were able to share, the feedback with me from that conference, I actually made a bunch of changes and additions to this, to the presentation for today.
Good.
So,
Good.
hopefully, answering a lot more of the questions that people have. And yeah, conveniently, New Hampshire Granite recently updated their website, and it is a lot more user-friendly now. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Awesome. Okay, we have a few more people coming in. Well, I'm not a Gaia user myself, so I'm interested to learn more about it as well.
Yeah.
So it'll be good.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of interest this year. We've met with a lot of different conservation commissions that have the LCIP properties. And yeah, some people had attended that workshop and were interested to learn more. They still hadn't, downloaded it and experimented with the application yet. And yeah, I've heard that some Conservation Commission members are using an app called Strava to record their walks, or able to bike a property or something, which, it's another good way, at least just to document, where you go. I'm not sure if you can upload GIS files into that.
Okay.
It's possible. I have the app on my phone, but I've never logged in on the computer. So.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure there are other programs out there that you could probably use. And that's great if if somebody has that knowledge and on your commission and they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
But from what I've heard, though, Gaia is just an easy one to get started. Yeah. And then, once you get that knowledge base on how it works, then probably other ones would be similar, I would imagine. But anyway, it's always good to have some options. But
yeah, absolutely.
So again, thank you all for signing in a little bit early. There's some people joining us, but if you need to grab a drink or get yourself settled for the next 9 minutes, feel free to do what you need to do, and we'll get started promptly at noon, since I think we'll be covering a lot of information. And just a reminder, this program is being recorded. I will send out a link to the recording tomorrow, as well as with some additional resources, or if there's some requests for more information through the program today, we'll do some more follow-up on that. Has everybody enjoyed their summer? It's nice to see the rain, though, isn't it? My garden was pretty much crispy from this last. It was drooping, and then it went from drooping to pretty much brown and crispy. It's pretty rough.
I saw that happening too. Yeah, quite a bit.
Yeah.
Then again, it had been so long since we had more than one gloomy day at a time. Just having two,
It's odd almost. You're like, where's the sunshine?
Yeah.
It seems dark out.
Since I've seen the sun.
I know.
No, it's
really only 2 days. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all right. This rain will help, though. At least things are still green enough that they can use some of the water.
I feel like this summer hasn't been quite as intense heat and humidity wise, as past summers.
We've definitely had some tough days, though, some really hot ones, but that's why I like New Hampshire. There's only, a handful of those really, really hot days. And then for the most part, they're manageable, and, you know, you just find a nice lake to swim in, and you're all set. So how long have you been at the land stewardship program now, Charlotte? A couple years, or?
A couple months, over a year now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I started towards the end of last June. So I've had my 1 year anniversary, and yeah, it's been pretty awesome. I think.
That's great to hear. Yeah. I'm sure you're busy. I mean, there are, like you said, there's a 200 plus properties that you're responsible for, plus an additional 250 that are your own easement properties. So that's a lot.
Yep. Yeah. And considering we're sort of like an agency of 2 3/4, we have a seasonal position.
Good.
Which just ended at the end of August. But yeah, it's a lot for 2 people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but if I can be, outside 50% of the time, I'm a happy camper. So
yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's certainly the benefit of being in that position, is getting to see all those beautiful places and spend your time outside.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, thank you for all that hard work, because I'm sure it's a challenge to keep track of all those properties. And I'm sure if everything's perfect and fine, you're good, but you've got to probably do a lot of follow-up as well.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, I haven't even gotten to all the properties. I think by the end of this year, I might have seen every property.
Oh, nice. Yep. Good.
And meeting the landowners and Conservation Commission members has been wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
This is really this position is my first where I'm working with conservation easements. So it was a learning curve, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh, excellent.
Got quite a few people.
Yeah, they're still rolling in, and thank you all for joining us. We've got about 5 more minutes to go, so if you need to grab a glass of water, get yourself settled, feel free to do that before we officially start the program. I think it will be a big group.
So Barbara, are the lunch and learns, is it 1 a month? Are there 2 this month?
We do, we kind of do a group in the spring and the fall. So we'll do, it's usually 2 a month. So it's every other Wednesday in September and October. And then we take a little break for the conference and for the holidays. And then we'll start up usually February, late February or early March. And then we'll do a couple in the spring as well. This year, though, we are doing we received a grant from the New Hampshire Charitable Foundation to create a more comprehensive wetland training program. And so we hope to do that in the spring. So I'm not sure, we might not have as many of the lunch and learns in the spring. I don't know. It's kind of nice. We've kind of, we haven't necessarily committed to a certain number each season, spring and fall, but I think people will be expecting something for the spring. And if you have ideas, anybody who's out there, let me know. Send me an email at barbara@nhacc. If you have some good ideas of what you'd like to see for our spring programs, lunch and learns. Again, they're usually just, an hour introductory, basic programs that will then provide you with resources, follow-up resources or where to go for more information. But let me know if you have any topic you're interested in.
Yeah, I'm sure it's great to get ideas submitted to you.
It is nice
to keep things new and current.
Yes.
You know?
Yep. Yeah. And then, you know, even there's some things that we repeat because they tend to be a popular topic, but you know, it's nice for me to hear that people are interested in a specific topic, even if we've done it before, because, you know, like this one, I know was very popular at the conference. So having the opportunity to present it again, I think makes sense.
Yeah. I think the workshop on using wildlife cameras was pretty popular too.
Yes, and we are going to have another wildlife camera program at the next conference on November 5th. Pete Steckler is going to be doing that for us, because I have found that a lot of towns are really excited about working with either landowners or on town property to track wildlife, to try to better determine if there's a wildlife corridor in the area. So the wildlife cameras, I think, is another cool thing that, you know, commissions can be using. And
it's pretty amazing the things that you can capture with a well-placed camera.
Yes, yes. And I think that is, from what I've heard from Pete and the towns that have used the wildlife cameras, it's key is the placement, because you want to make sure you're, you know, in that corridor or that area where wildlife are crossing. Pete's kind of, you know, he really knows his stuff, so he can,
oh yeah,
he knows where the, you know, and it's often, you know, a water crossing or areas where it's easiest for wildlife to move.
Yep.
So it's noon now. So I think I'll just go ahead and get started, and I will be admitting people as we go. But welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us today for the NHACC Lunch and Learn program, Stewardship and Technology. It's nice to see you all, and I hope you all had a great summer. It's good to be back. So this workshop, we're going to be focusing on utilizing Gaia GPS in the field to efficiently and accurately monitor conservation properties. And monitoring conservation properties is always a question that we get here at NHACC. So I'm glad we can offer some resources to help you do this better. And today we have Charlotte Harding, who is the stewardship specialist for the state of New Hampshire's Conservation Land Stewardship Program. And she is responsible for the stewardship and monitoring of 200 plus conservation properties, state-held conservation easements. And she also oversees another 250 conservation properties. So it's a pretty big job, and we're happy to have her here today. So just a few things for those of you who don't know who we are. NHACC is the New Hampshire Association of Conservation Commissions, and we're a nonprofit organization that's here to support conservation commissions so that they can be effective in protecting their natural resources. And we provide education and assistance to 217 conservation commissions here in New Hampshire. We just created a new website. If you haven't had a chance to look at that, it has a lot more information on the member resource library section. And I think you'll find that easy to navigate. We used to require a login for that, and we decided that it's going to be like NPR, that if you're going to use our website and our materials, then you'll be our member. You'll renew your membership. So anyway, take a look at the website when you get a chance. And just a few reminders before we get started, please remain muted as we go through today's program. There's going to be a lot of people on this Zoom meeting, so please remain muted so we can all hear the speaker, and the quality is good. Audio quality is good. We do encourage people to ask questions, but we are going to ask that you use our chat feature, the chat box at the bottom, or you can raise your hand in the reactions tab at the bottom as well. And that will help us navigate through questions. Again, there's going to be a lot of people on the Zoom meeting, so please use those two features. And I guess with that, I'm going to welcome Charlotte Harding to jump into the program. Charlotte, thanks again for being here today.
Of course, I'm happy to be here, and I greatly appreciate the opportunity to present on this because I think it's a really valuable tool for conservation commissions and really lots of other folks. I personally have used the Gaia GPS app since way before I began in this position, just for my own personal recreational use. And I just think it's highly valuable for conservation property monitors. So I think we were going to start off with a poll, just to get a general sense of where everybody's sort of starting as far as their experience using digital mapping tools. You know, whether you have no experience at all or have used them before.
Did the poll come up for everybody?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, I'm going to share results. Are you seeing the results?
Yeah.
Okay. So it looks like a mix.
It looks like most of the participants have done some dabbling. I'm seeing that 22% have never tried to use digital mapping tools, so pretty fresh to this. Some people regularly use digital mapping tools, so this might be somewhat of a review depending on what tools they have used before. And there are some occasional users, so that's a good mix. And I am hoping that the level of information and the pace of the workshop is adequate or comfortable for those who have never tried using digital mapping tools before. There is a lot of material in this, but if there are any any clarifying questions, feel free to, like Barbara said, raise your hand. Chances are pretty good that if you have a question about something we haven't covered yet, you could put it in the chat box, but you might want to wait until the presentation is done just in case that one item does end up coming up. So, all right, great. Well, we're going to get started here. So let's see, just to go over a brief workshop agenda for today. I'm going to start off by introducing you all to Gaia GPS. So basically what it is. We're going to explore the mobile application, which will cover some of the features of the app and different important settings that you're going to want to take a look at. We're going to go over how to use Gaia in the field to record your data and navigate to waypoints. We're going to talk about how to use Gaia online. So there is both the mobile application and there is a website which your data will upload to. And we're going to talk about how you can edit and manage the data that you've collected in the field on the website, as well as how to upload data to the website. And that will include property boundaries and data collected in the past while you're in the field, or even data collected by others. Then we'll finish up with a quick sort of review, conclusion, question and answer. And if there are no questions and we're finished early, I have just a little bit of bonus material that we can go over. So technology has many, many uses in the field, and it can help us achieve our stewardship goals in multiple ways. And one of the really neat things about the Gaia GPS app is that it gives you the ability to navigate, track your route, collect data, and take photos all in one single application. And my goal today is really to provide you all with the information necessary to leverage this technology in the field to safely and accurately monitor conservation properties, increase fun and efficiency, and to keep your data organized and accessible for years to come. So what is Gaia GPS? It is essentially mapping and navigation software, which is optimized for your smartphone. There is a completely free version of it, which has all of the same basic functions as a traditional GPS device. It makes it easy for you to store and share data that you've collected in the field, and it can help you create simple maps for monitoring reports. You will need a smartphone device to use the Gaia GPS application. I just want to be really clear about that. It works both on Android and Apple devices, and you can find it in the App Store. Certain features do look different depending on the operating system that you use. And the reason I know this is because I use an iPhone for work, but my personal phone is an Android, and I have the free version of the app on my personal phone, and then I use premium for work. And things do look different. I don't know why. I think that Gaia should make it look the same regardless of the operating system. To create your account, all you need is an email and a password. And I did send out an email last week, just encouraging you all to go ahead and create your accounts, because you know, there's just a lot of features there within the app that are good to explore, and just to kind of get a general sense of it. Your email and password are the only personal information that you need to provide to create your account, and then you'll be good to go. And today, for the purposes of this workshop, I'm only going to be going over things that you can do with the free version of Gaia GPS. All of the functions that you can use it with that free membership are within the yellow box here under subscription levels. So the free subscription gives you the ability to use all of the planning features of the app. You can record your tracks and create routes, areas, waypoints, discover trails and natural areas by you. You can organize and manage your data, and you have access to the Gaia topo map, which is a combination. You'll see an example of it. It's a combination of a topo map with an open street map. So it's very useful for navigating, and it also gives you those topography features, which is pretty great. The premium subscription level, basically it's $40 a year, and it provides more base map options, and it gives you the ability to download maps for use off the grid. But I have found that even in areas without cell signal, you can still use the free version, because the GPS chip in your smartphone will function even when there is no cellular service. Just to go over a little bit of GIS terminology, and I guess I'll start by saying that GIS stands for Geographic Information Systems. Some of the things we're going to be talking about today, so a waypoint is a point that corresponds to coordinates. A track is a line of location data. It's similar to a breadcrumb trail of where you have walked before. And in Gaia, a track will actually contain data on your average speed, elevation gained, and distance traveled. And a geolocated or geotagged photo is very similar to a waypoint in that it's a geographic location tied to a photograph. And in this case, it's a photograph instead of a pin on a map, which is a waypoint. So when you open the app on your phone, this is what we call the main map, and it's essentially your home screen on the app. I have circled in red the little map logo on the bottom left, because when you click that, this is the screen that pops up on the application. And we're going to go over some of the different functions of the app, which you can access here from this main map. So on the top row, starting from the left and going to the right, there is the magnifying glass symbol, which allows you to search for map features. You could type in the name of a town to have the app center in on that town instead of, you know, scrolling with your finger and finding it yourself. The outward arrows there, if you click on that, the top and bottom panels will go away and it will expand the size of the main map. The crosshairs symbol will automatically center the map on your current location, provided you have location services turned on your device. The plus sign in a circle is where you go to add data to your map. And that layers symbol is where you can see what base map layers are available to you. So that would be, I think there's maybe 3 or 4 available on the free version. Yeah, so, and then we also have the record button, which is what you will press to begin recording your track. And there's also the compass in the upper middle of the map. And the way that the compass works is you're going to need to hold your phone on a flat plane, essentially like this. And it will work better if you are not indoors, not in a vehicle, not near other electromagnetic devices. And on the bottom, the trip logo will show you statistics on your satellite connection, your current location, your geographic coordinates, and elevation and speed. If you click on Discover, it will pop up with different hikes and parks that are near you. Saved will bring you to your imported and saved data files. So if you are just opening the app for the first time, there will be nothing there. And then there are settings here with the little gear symbol. And just so you all know, I see a lot of you kind of looking down and writing things down. I will be sharing this PowerPoint with Barbara so she can send it out to all of you. And this is being recorded, so you can always watch it again. You don't need to write notes down too fast. So just to go over a couple of helpful settings here. When you click on that gear symbol, this is the menu. In your account settings, you're going to see that there is an option to sync your data on Gaia with something called Gaia Cloud. It's helpful to toggle that on, because that way, once you have collected data out in the field and you return home and your phone connects to your Wi-Fi, that data will sync with the website. So theoretically, when you log on to the website, you will see your data there. Now, sometimes the sync that happens is incomplete. I have that happen a lot when I get back from the field. If that is what happens, what you're going to want to do is just open your account settings in the phone and go to right here where it says last sync. You can click on this and it will automatically, it will force the app to sync with the website, essentially. Another helpful setting to turn on is under storage settings. And this is to have your photos, which are taken in the application, also saved to your phone gallery. And this is because sometimes the photos, some of them, they will partially upload essentially, especially if you've taken many, many photos using the app while you're out in the field. They will still show up in your data on the website, but it can be easier to upload them directly from your phone to a library on your computer. And there are a lot of other ways to customize the appearance of your map and even these settings menus through these other items. So it's a good idea just to click through those. There's dark mode maps, which I will have. I think I did use an example within the PowerPoint of what a dark mode might look like. Different ways to customize the symbology in the app and things like that. So it's good just to go through those, but we're not going to go through them for the workshop today. So prior to using the Gaia application in the field, there are important steps to take to make sure that you are prepared. Chances are you are going to want to upload boundary files into Gaia Online so that you have them on the app. We will go over how to do that just a bit later in the workshop. You might want to upload past waypoints that have been collected at the property, whether it was by you or someone else, in case there are any locations that you need to return to. You also want to make sure that your phone is fully charged. It's not a bad idea to bring out a battery bank with you. And the more time that you have the Gaia app open on your screen, let's say you're navigating using Gaia and it's just open and you're walking with it open on your phone, the quicker your battery might die. There are some, little tips and tricks for saving battery power. You can turn your phone on airplane mode and it will still, like I said, Gaia will still work using the GPS device. You just won't have cell signal. And also if you are out in the field in really cold temperatures, it can help to keep your phone in an internal pocket because the cold temperatures can cause the battery to die a little quicker. And I also just want to note that using the Gaia GPS app doesn't really replace property surveys. So, most GPS devices will get within 15 to 20 feet accuracy. And if you're looking for a particular boundary marker, you're still going to end up doing some searching, which you would anyways with a boundary survey, but the boundary survey is what has those boundaries detailed on it. So you're still going to want to bring that. And if you have your compass, you can hold that out as long as you want for it to navigate, and your compass won't die. It doesn't have a battery in it. So property surveys and compass are still really useful to bring out with you. And once you're out at a property and you are ready to begin monitoring, the first thing you're going to want to do on the main map here is to hit the crosshairs symbol, and that will center directly in on your current location. And then once you're ready to begin recording your track, you're going to hit record. And as you walk, while the track is recording, you're going to see a line of data appearing behind the arrow symbol, which is symbolizes your current location. And a timer will essentially start. So it's just timing your trip. Now, while you are recording your track, let's say you come across a particular feature that you want to mark with a waypoint. So here, we could say, oh, there's a new trail junction here that wasn't here last time. What you're going to do is you're going to go to that plus symbol, and there is an add data drop-down menu here. What can be a little confusing is that it lists add waypoint twice. One is just add waypoint and the other is add waypoint my location in parentheses. That is the one that you are going to want to use if you want to record the waypoint where you currently are standing. Otherwise, if you use the plain add waypoint, it will add one somewhere else on the map, somewhere still close to you, but the purpose of that is to manually add a waypoint, even if it's somewhere, on the other side of the property. So if you click that, it's going to have you, drag and drop the waypoint where you want it. That can be useful for navigating, and we will talk about that in a little bit. So you're going to click on Add Waypoint My Location, and a little dialog box will appear, which gives your waypoint sort of a generic name that just includes the date and time. But it's a good idea to give that waypoint a unique name, because you don't want to end up with a list of waypoints with these generic names. It can be very confusing. So let's say here that we came across a new trail. Maybe it's a bootleg, you know, something to keep an eye on. So we're going to name it New Trail. You can add notes underneath, like, you know, new trail heads south from a budding property or something like that. Make sure you click Save, and that new waypoint will appear on your map, and a little details panel will show up underneath it. And this is also where you can add those geotagged photos. When you click on the Add Photos button there, your phone screen will just become a camera, and you can take photos, save them to the waypoint, and they will have those geographic coordinates attached to them. Now, let's say that you have completed the monitoring of the conservation property. You've got your track and your waypoints, and you are back at your car. To stop recording your track, you're going to hit that timer button at the top. You can see here that I had been monitoring for almost 4.5 hours. That was a long day. When you hit that button, you will have the option to finish or delete your track. You're going to want to finish it. It will prompt you to name your track. If you don't give it a unique name, it will just give it this generic new track with the date and time. In this case, I was monitoring some properties owned by Bear Paw Regional Greenways, so I named it Bear Paw Track. You can also change the color of the track here, but it's a little easier to edit colors and things like that using the website. So once you've named your track, you're going to hit Save, and you will have finalized that track and those waypoints on the app. So here you can see that the track is selected, and the name pops up right underneath it. You can edit it at this time if you want to, but at this point, you would be ready to go home and sync with Gaia Online. Another thing that you can do with Gaia is you can navigate to a waypoint. And for the navigate function to work properly, you do need that waypoint to be used as a destination. The waypoint could be something like marking a boundary corner, a trail junction, or a location where issues have occurred in the past. And in order to add that waypoint to the map, you can use the add data function. Like I showed you, instead of adding waypoint in my location, you can drag that waypoint to where you want to put it. You could also upload it into Gaia Online, which will sync with the application. And in order to navigate to that waypoint once you're out in the field, what you're going to do is you are going to just tap on that red pin that shows up on the map, and the waypoint details panel will come up. So in this case, I knew that there was a little cemetery in that small cutout along the edge of the property boundary, and I wanted to walk over there. So I have clicked on that waypoint, and on the waypoint details panel, you'll see that it says how far it is away from my current location, the bearing from me, its geographic coordinates, and its elevation. Now, if I want to navigate to that waypoint, I'm going to go to the More ellipses, and I'm going to choose Guide Me. And as soon as you click that, you'll see that a line appears between the arrow, which is your current location, and that waypoint. So there's this blue line connecting me to that waypoint. And up at the top, again, is the distance and bearing to that waypoint from my current location. And those are as the crow flies. So both of those numbers are going to change quite a bit as I work my way towards this waypoint. We all know it's pretty difficult to walk a straight line through the woods. And in this case, there were some farm fields I wasn't going to walk across. So, you know, sometimes if that's the case, the distance might actually get longer, even though you are working towards the waypoint. So as you see on the screenshot to the right, once I had worked around those farm fields and everything, I got to a point where I was 36 feet away from the cemetery. And at that point I could see it. So once you're done navigating to the waypoint, you're going to click end. And Gaia will give you the option of whether or not to continue recording your track or stop recording your track. And in this case, I wanted to continue recording my track because I was going to be walking around the property quite a bit more. But, you know, let's say that you wanted to navigate back to a pin that was actually where you parked. You know, let's say that this is a property where there are no trails and you're essentially bushwhacking. So as soon as you got out of the car, you added a waypoint for where you parked. In that case, then you might want to stop recording once you are done navigating. So I've added this in because this happens to everyone who uses Gaia GPS, including myself. You know, sometimes you are just hot and sweaty at the end of your monitoring visit and you jump in your car and you drive home and you go to send a text to your sister and let them know that you're home, and you see that you have tracked your, you know, hour-long car ride all the way back to your house. You can fix this. So as you can see here on the left, I had monitored a property sort of just north of Concord, and then I drove back to the office, and I don't need to keep all of that location data for that entire drive. So the way that you can edit the track is, well, you're going to need to finish it first. So you're going to click on that recording button in the upper left and select Finish Track. You can go ahead and give it a name and save it. And once you've saved it, you can select that track and have the details panel come up on the application. And you're going to go to Edit. On the Edit menu, there are a lot of different ways to edit the track, but we're going to choose Crop Track. And a bar will appear at the bottom of the screen, which has the start and end of your recorded track. And you can slide the end here towards the left to crop your track from the end. Alternatively, you can do it from the start if you began recording miles away from the property and you want to edit the beginning of the track. So as you slide that little end towards the left, your track length will decrease. And once you get to the point where you are happy with the length of that track, you'll hit the cut button up at the top right, and that will be all fixed. So there is a way to fix that. So at this point, we have pretty much covered how to use Gaia in the field, at least that portion of the workshop today. And we are going to move on to how to using Gaia online. I'm just wondering if there are any hands yet.
There's definitely some questions in chat, and the one of them was basically Grace asked if she's already a member of Outside the ski magazine, she can't log into Gaia with that email and password. I suggested maybe she try a new password, but it's telling her the email is invalid. So I don't know if you've had any excuse and any experience with creating.
So I do not have experience with that, but I have a few other people have reached out to me with a similar issue. And my advice would be to go to the Gaia help page and submit a formal request. It is sort of odd. I think Outside actually purchased Gaia maybe a year or two ago. And it says right on the slide right here that, you know, Outside members should be able to use their existing email and password to log in. I don't know why there is an issue with that, but I can put a link in the chat maybe once we're done to the Gaia support page.
Yeah, that's a good one. And I'll make sure that that's on the follow-up.
Yeah.
Another question, let's see, is so are the saved waypoints always visible on your home map?
If you have saved them while you are the saved waypoints always visible on the map? I guess the simplest answer to that is no, because you can delete them. Once you have saved a waypoint in your location, that should remain there for the rest of your monitoring visit, because the data that you've saved in Gaia will remain on the map until you go ahead and delete it.
Okay. Let's see, this is a specific one as well, but on the home screen where your icon says discover at the bottom of the screen, mine shows search with no search icon at the top. And is this one of those things where you said there's some differences between the two?
Yes. Yep. So the discover and search, I think on a certain version of Gaia, they combined the two because they can essentially do the same thing. So yes, that is one of those cases where depending on your operating system, it looks different, but it still has all the same functions.
Okay, great. And then a question, logging out will delete any data saved to this device. Does that mean we should not log out?
Correct.
Not sure what data would be lost.
Well, if you haven't collected any data, then there's no risk in logging out. But if you have collected data in the field, you can go ahead and close the app once you're done monitoring. But when I say close the app, what I mean is, you know, you can swipe it off of your currently used open applications. You don't want to log out. Yeah, logging out will delete the data that you have collected.
Okay. Let's see, maybe there's one last one. From my current location to another, a distance is given. Is this by marked trails or as the crow flies?
I think it's likely that it's as the crow flies.
Okay.
All right.
I think that's it then. I don't see any hands raised.
Well, there will be the questions after.
Sure, exactly. And we will provide you with more details if you need to follow up with either one of us after the program as well.
Yeah. All right, so we're moving on to how to use Gaia Online. You are going to sign into Gaia Online using the same email and password as you used to sign into the application on your smartphone. In order to see the data that you've collected in the field on the website, you need to make sure that the app has synced with the website. So if you're not seeing the data appear right away, you might need to go back to those account settings and manually select sync to make sure that it all shows up for you. Again, the website makes it really easy to organize, edit, save, and share the data that you've collected in the field. And this is also where we're going to be able to import data files to plan for upcoming property visits and to visualize your property boundaries. So this is the main map on the Gaia website. It looks very similar to the main map on the mobile application. The left side panel has different map controls, which I will show you now. So the top 4 is where you're going to find map overlays, layers, which is just another word for base maps. The saved items, so those will be, that would be data that you have uploaded onto your map, and different map preferences, so that will change how your map appears, and some different controls, just different ways to customize your experience. The next 3 are the add data tools. So the top is where you can create a waypoint. The middle there is a line, so you can draw lines in Gaia. And you can also draw areas in Gaia, or polygons is another word for an area. Then the bottom 2 here, this is the little arrow pointing up is the symbol for importing data. And then below that, the little print symbol where you can print a map. And when you want to find the data that you've collected in the field, you can either scroll around on the map and zoom in to where you know the property was located, or you can go up to this little profile drop-down menu where it lists different types of data by category. So what we're going to do here is we're going to select tracks. When I've selected tracks, it will bring you to your My Tracks page. This will list all the tracks that you've saved to Gaia, and we're going to select the track which we just collected in the field, which will open that track's details page. Here you can see the different photos that were collected while you're out in the field, and you can click on these little outward arrows to expand the track on the main map. So once you've centered in on the track and waypoints that you've collected in the field, you can begin to edit them if you want to. So while the track itself is selected, you can go ahead and click edit in the upper right of the track panel that will pull out from the left side of the screen. And clicking edit on the track will allow you to change the color of the track, but it won't allow you to crop the track. Cropping your track is only something that you can do using the mobile application. You can't do it on the website. It's another thing that I think, Gaia could improve. You can also click on individual waypoints here to edit their name, color, or symbology. Gaia has a lot of different symbols that you can use for your waypoints if you want to add some interest to your map. And it can also just give better information. If you find a fire pit, you can use a little fire symbol or whatever. You can also scroll through the photos here, which you took while out in the field. And once you're happy with the appearance of the track and you want to save it, you're going to scroll down to the bottom of this side panel. And down here, you're going to select export, which will give you the option of either saving the track as a GPX file or a KML file. We typically save our tracks as GPX files because that will save within it the speed and time data that's associated with that track, whereas KML would just be the track itself and no associated data. So once you hit GPX, your file explorer would open and you can save that file. Here underneath export is also the share function. And this allows you to share your map URL with another, you could share it with the Conservation Commission just to show them where you've been. And yeah, so, and I will show you also how to upload property boundaries and, you know, some of the file naming processes that you want to use when you do this. Also in the website, if you want to import data from a past field visit, whether it was yours or someone else's, it is a good idea to take a look at past year's data to see if there are any particular items that are worth revisiting during an upcoming monitoring visit. So to do that, you're going to go to the Import Data tab on the side panel and click Select Files. And this will open your computer's file explorer, where you would then navigate to where you have saved your GPX files. And the different components of the GPX file will be listed here on the side panel. And you can check the little checkboxes for the particular waypoints that you want to download. So in this case, if I was revisiting this property, I wanted to go to the places where new bridges were being put in so that I could take some photos of those and update those photos in our system. So then you want to make sure to save those items. And now I have a property boundary with waypoints that I can either navigate to, or, I mean, they are right along a trail, so I don't really need to navigate to them. But if they were off trail, navigate would be a good way to get back to those waypoints. And once you've uploaded data in the website, you know, similarly to collecting data in the field and making sure that it has synced in the website, if you're going to be using this data to use in the field, you want to make sure that it's showing up on that mobile application. So you're going to want to open the app and check to make sure that the waypoints are showing up in the app before you go out into the field. And if they're not, you might just need to manually sync. So just as a few data management tips, again, it's a really good idea to oh, I didn't go over this yet. So it's a really good idea to have a system for naming your GPX files. We personally use the year, property name, and the initials of the person who monitored. It's a good idea to review data collected from earlier visits when you're planning your own visit. You know, you might want to chat with the person who monitored the property last year, just in case, you know, if they didn't collect data, then you might want to create your own waypoints to navigate to. You can create folders within Gaia, which can be easily shared via email, or you can save them on a shared server or online platform like Box or OneDrive. That's a good way to share data with other Conservation Commission members. And yeah, okay, so I've covered everything there. All right, we're moving on to how and where to get boundary files.
That's good. That was one of the questions, was that your map is showing red property boundaries, and are they on a specific layer? So I think you'll be answering that question.
Yes. All right. So how and where to get boundary files? We get this question a lot. Luckily for us, New Hampshire Granite recently redid their website, and it has become a lot more user-friendly, and it's a lot easier to download data now. There are other options for where you can get boundary files, so I'm just going to quickly go over those. Again, New Hampshire Granite, it's great. We can download all the data we want from there. If it is a municipal owned property, you can always check with your town planning or zoning office. Municipalities can also work with their regional planning commissions, which they work with GIS and census data and do a lot of planning and community development projects. If it's a town-owned property with a conservation easement, you could reach out to the easement grantee or an executory interest to see if they have a boundary file. And you can always make your own boundary files as long as you've got GPS coordinates to drop down as the corners, and you can always create the area yourself. but I am going to show you how to download boundaries off of New Hampshire Granite. So this is the new updated Granite homepage. It includes links to something called the New Hampshire Geodata portal, also Granite View, and lots of other maps. We are going to select that Geodata portal. Now within the Geodata portal, you can explore different maps by data category. Some popular maps would include the New Hampshire Parcel Mosaic, which has downloadable tax map information. There's also the New Hampshire Conservation and Public Lands layer, which is under the Environment and Conservation data category. And for things like baseline documentation reports and for other planning purposes, the National Wetlands Inventory is also really useful, and that is under the Inland Water Resources. For the example today, I'm going to upload a property boundary using the New Hampshire Conservation and Public Lands layer. So I will show you what that looks like. So once you have selected the data layer that you want to take a look at on the map, it will open and you can pan and zoom around on this map, just like you could using Google Maps or Google Earth. For this map, the conservation and public lands are highlighted in blue, which is just the default settings, but I believe you can change those. And what you're going to want to do is zoom into the area where your property of interest is located. On this map, the properties are labeled with their name. And for the example, we're going to say that I want to download the file for the Carter Tract here, which is located in Canterbury. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that property with my mouse, and I'm going to open its attribute table. And that attribute table basically just gives you some more detailed information on the selected property. And to download the boundary, you can either filter data by attribute, or you can use the drawing tools, which are on the left side panel here. The drawing tools are especially helpful if you want to download more than one property at a time. But for this example, I'm just going to download the one tract. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to filter the data by attribute. So I'm going to click on the filter tab here, which looks like a little funnel on that left side. So under the filters tab, I'm going to check name, that little checkbox there, and I typed in Carter Tract to the top, and it recognized it immediately, and you can see Carter Tract is checked right under that name header there. And at this point, that property is the only one highlighted in blue on the map. So now we are ready to go to the download tab, which is the one that looks like a cloud with a downward arrow coming out of it. And on the download tab, you're going to want to make sure that you have, oh, I thought I had added an arrow up here. Just a second. So you're going to want to make sure that you toggle on your filters, which are right under download options. You see that little toggle filters switch. And then it says right above it, it says records filtered equals 1. And then you're going to go down the download options list and select KML, because that is the compatible file type to use with Gaia GPS. Earlier, we were using a GPX file, which included, our data like speed, time, and stuff like that. But since this is just an area, a polygon, essentially, it doesn't contain that type of data. So we're going to be downloading it in a KML file type. And once that has finished downloading, you'll see your file explorer pop up. It says save as type KML. You can edit the name of the boundary file if you want to, and make sure that you save it somewhere where it's easily accessible and you won't lose it. Hit save. And at this point, when you go back into Gaia, you'll select that Upload Data tab. It'll open your File Explorer, and you'll just navigate to wherever you saved that file. And then it will show up in the side panel here. You can save it. And just like that, you've got your property boundary in Gaia. So I'm hoping that at this point, with the information I've provided, you all would feel somewhat comfortable giving the app a try. Really, you want to begin with exploring the different app features and settings. You can try recording your track and collecting some data. You could always try recording your track on a walk around the block. You don't need to wait until you're out in the middle of the woods to give it a go. Try dropping a waypoint and then navigating to it. And, you know, don't forget that you can edit the data that you've collected on the website, make it all different colors, and try uploading some boundaries up to the Gaia website, and save that data, share it with the other Conservation Commission members. And yeah, that's the best way to do it. I've also included some useful links here. Like I said, I do have a link here to the Gaia Help Center, actually, which is where you would submit a formal request from if you're having issues logging into your account. And at this point, I am ready to go with some questions.
Great. Well, thank you so much. I feel like you've probably answered the questions. Let's see, here's a few coming up. Is there a way to save a trail so that it can be viewed by others and shows on the map as a trail? So I think the other question was about sharing maps and how we do that. So that might be, you know, something we can link to if there's a training within Gaia that can help. Or if it's an easy enough question to answer in, you know, a minute or two.
Well, oh, we don't have that much time. Okay. Yeah. So if you want to save a trail, what you can do is, well, firstly, a lot of trails actually show up on that Gaia topo map. So they should show up if you're using the app just while you're outside. You don't necessarily need to create the trail yourself, but something you can do on, whether it's online or on the app, is you can add data in the form of a line. Remember, there was, you know, drop a waypoint, add a line. You can trace that line over the trail, and Gaia will actually pick up on the contours of the trail and recognize that you are trying to essentially create that trail as a downloadable data file. So you can create a trail that way. I'd be happy to, you know, talk about that some more, or send some examples in an email or something afterwards. And as far as sharing maps goes, again, you know, sharing that map URL so that the data will show up on anyone else's computer is a really good way to do that. You could also, you know, you can always take a screenshot and email it. Yeah, those are all good ways.
Great. And all right, a couple more that are out there. One was, can you create, let's see, can you create a track without walking it?
Yes.
I mean, yes.
Yes. In the same way that you can trace over a trail, you can draw a line using the Gaia website. Yeah. Yes,
okay. And then there was a question about navigating a waterway, and whether that Gaia, so if I have to navigate a river or pond to access a site, will the app track me on the river? I believe it does, but yeah. You want to talk about accessing a property on a waterway?
Sure. Yeah, if you're recording your track, it will record your track if you're driving or on a boat or swimming, although you might break your phone.
On a bike, yeah, horseback, on a bike, right?
It will record you that way. If you are trying to route yourself around particular water features, I'm not sure Gaia would do that necessarily unless you create your route ahead of time before going out to, you know, avoid walking through water. That would be something that you'd want to plan for using the website. And I didn't include in this workshop how to create a route for purposes like that, but that would be a more sort of advanced item.
Well, we'll definitely include those links that you have in the follow-up email so that if people want to explore Gaia more fully, they can get to their help page as well.
Yeah.
Another question is, can Gaia be downloaded for paper files? And I'm wondering if you can do a print to PDF or print, you know, when you're just printing your map.
Yeah, so I'm actually slightly unclear on this. Using the premium version, we can print our maps as PDFs.
Okay.
We can save them as PDFs. I'm uncertain if the free version will allow you to do that, but if not, you can always use, you know, snipping tool or take a screenshot and, you know, paste it right into your monitoring report as an image.
Great, great. Well, I'm going to kind of wrap us up there. And again, remind everybody, you're welcome to reach out to us via email as well if you have any further questions. And also just a quick note to remind towns that if you are monitoring a property for your Conservation Commission, that becomes a government record, and that would then be, if the public wanted to view that, they can. So make sure you're using very factual terms when you're describing use on the property, and make sure it's a document that you're happy to share with the public if necessary. So just a quick reminder on that one for public documents as a Conservation Commission. And a quick update. Again, thank you so much, Charlotte. I think this was a great way to get us started, and we'll provide the link tomorrow to the recording. We have a couple more lunch and learns coming up. Next one is Learn About LIDAR on September 21st. And we also have a Drinking Water and Groundwater Trust Fund on September 20th, which is not really a lunch and learn. It's an evening program. So you can also go to our new website and check out training opportunities, and that will show you the link to the upcoming lunch and learns and how to actually sign up for them. So again, thank you all for spending this hour with us. And thank you, Charlotte, for all the work that you do and for helping us get a good handle on how to get started with Gaia.
Of course.
All right. Have a great afternoon, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you all.
Thanks.